on the book of face. Yeah, I know where to go. There's a man over there into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community. With great advice, I know who I should go see. So all around town radio show, that's where I go for the latest band info. So all around town radio show for the music that comforts my soul. It's the All Around Town Radio Show. The All Around Town Radio.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the program today. Good to have you with us on this wonderful Monday. It's the weekend update, and we're going to talk about a hell of a lot of music today. We'll be right back with you, all right?
It's the weekend review. Top 5 coming for you. Speaking with the fans, sometimes they don't show well. Whatever, man. We're coming, who's playing out off the open jam with the who's who of talent. Come Friday night, ready to raise some hell.
All right, here we are. It's Monday. Somebody out there in the sound world, give me a little sound check. I think I've got some things cleared up in the ears. If it sounds too much, let me know. I'll back it off a little. But we're there today on a Monday. It is All Around Town Radio's weekend update. And if you didn't get it posted on our page, if you want to post in the comments today somebody you saw play over the weekend, we'd love to hear from you. Ryan Schwab, I don't know how I missed you the other night. You must have left early. I saw you were up in my neck of the woods. Yes, Kevin Cooper in the house. How you doing, Kevin? Thank you. It was good to see you as well. We're going to talk about your band, the Hanky Panks, in just a minute. Glenn checking in on the YouTube channel. Good to have you. Shane DeMoss is taking the ride home here at 5. Live at 5 from the road. I like it. Lakes Ridge Band sharing it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for doing that. It was great to see you. We're going to chat about your band as well. Ryan Schwab in the house. Roger's here. Jimmy Kilroy is in the house. Roger, how are you, man? Good to see you. And Glenn says, always sounds good on YouTube. Thank you, Glenn, again. Glenn is the biggest YouTube supporter. They ought to pay Glenn a lot of money for supporting YouTube the way he does. He's a Facebook hater. He is. Bob Klein in the house. What's going on? Sean Cooper from Milano's. What's going on, Sean Cooper? And Bill, he said, sounds great. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. And yes, Roger, always good to see you, my friend. All right, let's get started today. I've got a lot to talk about. We had a hell of a week in music. I'm going to kick it back to last Wednesday. Name that tune on the patio at Heather's with a lot of great music and a lot of great people. Full house, despite the heat. We thought we'd be really down. It didn't happen. Huge crowd. About 300 plus people on the patio at Heather's on Wednesday. And don't forget, Heather's is our sponsor of our Thursday show. Who's playing out? We want to say thank you to her for that. Hi, Melody. Thank you for dropping in today. And Nikki's in the house. Nikki was working. There were, I said as I was going through my stuff here to do with the show today, I wish I could just clone myself. Nobody would like that, but that I could be to all these different shows and stay for the whole night, because we bounced around to a bunch, and all of them, frankly, I could have stayed in the seat all night and watched. So really good stuff. And Nikki, I get it. You're working hard. Heather, how are you? She called me sir. Hey, I feel good about that. How you doing, Heather? Our hostess with the mostest. Yes, good to have you here. Rick Maxwell's in the house. Got to see Rick this weekend as well. He was doing a little different capacity. He was running some sound, not behind the drum kit. So that was cool. We're going to talk about that as well. Yes. It's been a day, people. Everybody else had a Monday. Let's hope we don't freeze up like we did Thursday. Our Thursday show went to hell in a handbasket with the freeze ups. Then I found out that, this streaming platform we use, which is really a good one, but they've been bought out. And since they were bought out, it's been a shit show. And all these people on the forums for their page and their things like that are just ripping them about the freeze ups and some of the stuff. So we're hoping maybe they get it together, or either that or they're just going to sell it and we'll all be out of this platform and onto something else. But we'll see. We'll see. What else we got here? Glenn says he gets to live his life through my ears. Thank you. You didn't go out this weekend, Glenn? You didn't? What else we got? Ryan said, he says, is it me or is the audio off from the vocals? And I'm the only one like it's behind a bit. Well, yeah, I'm noticing that on my screen too. That's why I was asking earlier if everybody's hearing okay. It just got a little lag going to it. And, we've even really upgraded all our Wi-Fi, everything else here. So lots of stuff. Thank you for that, Jim Kilroy, Retroactive Band, Pat Riley, Thing 1, Thing 2. And yes, it's cool. Thank you for that. All right, let me roll on through here. We talked about Wednesday, Thursday night. Took in a little music at Heather's. It was like Mrs. Roper night in Springboro, man. It was ladies' night down there. There was ladies dressed up as Mrs. Roper. And they were all having fun, and it was a good time. And we enjoyed a little bit of Daved and Confused. And Daved and Confused, man, they're a great band. They love to entertain the crowd. They go mobile a lot, get out into the crowd, do a lot of singing along and those kind of things. If you saw the pictures we posted up on our page, you'll notice that we were there for a bit on Thursday night and had a great time at Heather's in Springboro. It was good. So hello, Chad Robinson. It was great to see you as well. We're going to talk about that in just a moment as well. And Tina Longreed, thank you for dropping in. And Steve Stein's in the house from all kinds of bands. The Times, Tony B. He's a mercenary bass player as well. Good to have you with us, Steve. All right, so David and Confused, if you haven't followed him yet, anybody we mentioned on the show, please hit that little follow button. We'd love to hear from you on that one, and that you've liked their page, because it's important that we do that. Hello, Logan. Thanks for dropping in. And we're gonna chat here about Lakes Ridge here in just a little bit, and what a great band that was as well. But thank you to Dave and Confused and Heather's Patio for always being a great time. Hi, Ray Renee. Thank you for dropping in. That one party band in the house. So yeah, I can't say much more about Dave and Confused other than really cool songs. I like bands that bounce around a lot. I mean, there are certain bands that stick in a genre. That's cool. I mean, and I go and expect that. But some bands that play just a variety of stuff from, that's appealing from 8-year-olds to 80-year-olds. And Dave and Confused play some good classics and some really good times there. So we were happy. We were happy about that. Notice I'm taking a deep breath. I was outside for a bit here, and man, I think the pollen's back again. It is. It was like sneeze fest outside. And Heather says such a wonderful variety. I agree. It's just, that's the thing that's appealing to me about Dave and Confused. And the band's a bunch of good guys. And I like bands that are good people too, that get out and mingle with the crowd and entertain, and on the breaks like to talk to their audience and get to know them a little bit. And that's what they do. So it was a good Thursday night in Springboro down there. And there's so many choices this time of year too. As you all know, there's so much going on outdoors. It was a hot week, but let me tell you, people came out. Even though it was hot, they came out and enjoyed. So that was a fun one on Thursday night. What else we got here? I'm rolling through my stuff. We're going to kick off, though, our Friday. And I did 2 stops on Friday and 3 stops on Saturday. So fasten your seatbelts, people, because we're talking about some great musical acts here on the show today. One of my favorites of all time, I will tell you that. I love this band, is Lakes Ridge. And I know Heather does as well. We got a chance to sit and chat about that. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to Rick Maxwell, who is doing sound. Before we even talk about the band, Rick, It's one of the best sound, for lack of a better term, sound jobs that I've heard at Heather's on the Patio. Remarkably done. The mix was perfect. The vocals were perfect. You could hear everything on the stage going on. It was just really good sound. And, you know, Heather's with the tent at times can be a sound man's frustration nightmare because that tent bounces a lot of sound around. It's a good venue from the point of the people sitting in the audience, but if you get in the certain sections of that, you got a lot of bounce happening off the sound, a lot of things going on, and Rick had it dialed in perfectly. It was just so good. And hi, Bill Allred. Thank you for being with us. Good to see you. And Nikki says, how do I have the energy? Well, Nikki, I will tell you, it's a little deceptive because it's very close to home. I see a variety of bands, and you know, Nikki, from being in Springboro, you know what I'm talking about. The variety of bands that play within 5 minutes of my place is just amazing. So I can get there quickly. I can even have dinner at home and buzz out somewhere and go see a band and all that. And it's just it's a good time and really good stuff. And I didn't want to say sound engineer because Rick is a drummer by trade. That's what he really is. But he did a killer job on the sound. So I got to get started with that. But then Lakes Ridge. Let me talk about these guys. If you went to a Zac Brown concert, which we did that night, they did some great Zac Brown. You know how the harmonies are always amazing at Zac Brown shows, and some of these country bands, you know, they did songs like Fishing in the Dark and those kind of things. Got to throw the fiddle in there too, that Gary Ridgway plays. You know, it's all about the fiddle. Those guys that are watching will know the joke behind that, but it is, as Heather said here on the screen, absolutely amazing. And some of the nicest guys in the business. Sound was perfect. And yes, they're a tight band, and really a tight band. Just absolutely perfect on the musicianship. And I'll tell you, Mr. Lake's vocals are hard to compete with. He is a great vocalist. Gary singing too, and on the fiddle and the mandolin, and just the musicians behind that. And there's a whole mixture of people that play in several bands. There's some that play in a band called Night Rain, which Rick's in. There's some that play in Overdrive, which Rick's in. And several others that they all kind of intermingle here and play together. And one thing I like about them is they don't oversaturate either. They're one of those bands that you got to go see them when they play, because they don't play as often as a lot of people would like them to. They play the Miamisburg Moose a lot. Is that Moose a lot? Is that a word? They play the Miamisburg Moose a lot. And it's a lot of fun to go see this band. And let me see here. I've got, you saw the pictures we posted maybe earlier today. Let me see if I can hit up just some of the stuff they've got in their set. Midnight Rider, Mama Tried, 3 a.m. I mean, you know, they're all over the place with this Free Fallin'. Of course, you can't do a fiddle band without Baton Rouge, Garth Brooks song. Into the Mystic, Van Morrison, which was just killer. Absolutely good. Free Zac Brown, Take It Easy, the Eagles, all in there. Let me give you set 2. Fishing in the Dark's in there. Kiss My Country Ass is in there. A lot of CCR tunes they did throughout the night. Got Louisiana Saturday Night. You know, you get that fiddle and the bow out. And then, set 3, they threw in some stuff like Beer Never Broke My Heart. Some newer stuff. Margaritaville was in there. What I Got. I mean, listen to this. Trashy Women. And just, it's cool. Great set. Wonderful band. And, you know, if you don't go see Lakes Ridge, you're missing out. And I can tell you that. And you have to catch them occasionally out and about. They're at the Miamisburg Moose. If you're not a member, be a guest of a member. Be a qualified guest, as you're known. And get to see them, because you're going to love everything about this band. What else we got in the comment world here? Thank you. Jim, for that shameless plug for Edmonton. And yeah, Nikki says true. We have a great area for well, we have a great area even outside Springboro, but yeah, it's just within 5 minutes of my house, I can do it. And Ray said drummers make great sound engineers. And yes, and that's Heather said she was so honored to get to have them on the patio. Yeah, because they don't play a lot out, and when they do, it's great to have them in your place. And what a killer band Lakes Ridge is. That's all I can say. I mean, I'd give a shout out to all the guys, but I don't have it in front of me. But you know who you are. And thank you so much for a wonderful Friday evening. And, you know, everybody was saying, oh, it's so hot. It's so honestly, under the tent with the breeze blowing from the fans that Heather has going, it was really a nice night. So don't let that scare you away. The heat scare you away, because we had 300 people at music name that tune the other night. So don't let it scare you. Everybody knows it's cool under those tents. It's fun. And the musicians get hot. They do. They work. But good stuff. And Lakes Ridge said they had a blast. And one thing about Lakes Ridge, too, I want to mention before I move on, what a following they have of people that are dedicated to that band, no matter where they go. And they end up there. So, you know, if they're at the Moose Lodge, they're at the Moose. If they're playing at Heather's, they're at Heather's. And I love that about that band. And they've got a really good following. And I didn't understand even the connection. I saw some of our Wednesday night Name That Tune players there. And I was like, how do you know this band? And they were telling me there's a lot of connections. It's a small world and a really cool thing. So thank you to Ryan Lakes, Gary Ridgway and company for absolutely slaying it on Friday night. And it is all about the fiddle. I'll say that out loud just because it makes everybody laugh in the band. And Logan says, Gary raised me. I guess he's pretty cool. I would say so, Logan. I think he's pretty cool. I enjoy hanging out with Gary. He's a class act. He is. So what else happened next on a Friday night? Let me move on because I've got a ton to talk about here. And man, I haven't even hit Saturday yet. Friday night, the Hanky Panks at Mr. Burroughs. Caught the last 30 minutes or so of that one. I've seen the Hanky Panks a bunch, and that's one reason that I spent so much time with Lakes Ridge, because I can go see the Hanky Panks a lot. I know where they play. But I will say thank you, Niles. I'll mention that here in just a minute, but thank you for being on here. Really good stuff going on with the Hanky Panks. We walked into absolute mayhem happening in that bar. The dance floor was packed with people dancing. They were having a good time. It was all requests that the band was playing. And that's something that's very admirable, that you can take requests, put them on your, Kevin throws them up on the keyboard there, and they just do them. And hi, Chad. Thanks for being here. The Chad, hanging Chad, as I call him. We just can't say enough about the Hanky Panks either. They're a fun band. Brian on lead vocals is just an entertainer. He's a showman. Kevin Cooper can play and sing anything. Kevin is amazing. And if you don't know Kevin, he's one of the house band leaders at the Bell and the Bear and does a remarkable job there on Thursday nights on the jam session. But Kevin Cooper and company and Richard on bass, and gosh, they had a fill-in drummer. I'm not sure of his name. Somebody, if you're out there, throw it in there. But he was filling in that night on drums, and you'd have never known it because the band just had a great time. Ray says she loves the Hanky Panks. Cool dudes they are, and they're so much fun. It is an entertaining, fun show. And Brian has a range that's like none other. I mean, he can sing female parts in songs and sound just like it. Brian Otten, thank you for that. I'm sorry, I forgot that, Kevin Cooper. And of course, like I said, Kevin, keyboards, guitar, you name it, he can play it. And that's why they can do that simple little request thing. And they have people fill out sheets in the audience. They put it up there, and people just go crazy over that. The fact that, hey, they sang my song, it's cool. And I just love the vibe that this band has. Mr. Burroughs was humping that night. It was a good crowd. They were having fun in there. And again, lots going on. There was a Journey tribute going on, I think, in Springboro. There was all kinds of stuff happening at the big amphitheater. And then, of course, Lakes Ridge at Heather's. There was a band at the Barrel. So just, some really cool stuff happening within 5 miles. And a lot of people there for the Hanky Panks, and we got some good photos of them, which we enjoyed. I did not get their set list because it was just too late in the evening, and they were partying too hard for me to even do that. But really good stuff. Thank you to the Hanky Panks and to Mr. Burroughs Tavern again for a great time. And that was our Friday night. Let me see. I got to throw some things up here. Jim McCarthy, thank you for Kevin's schedule this week. Look at him, my producer, just throwing it in there. I never see Jim in the studio, but boy, look at all the production he does for me. He's amazing. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it. And that'll be in the comments if you want to see it. Oh, I hope we didn't freeze. Every time I click on Jim, we freeze. All right, let's go to Saturday real quick. Checks in the mail, Kevin says, Jim. Let's go to Saturday. By just happenstance, I got a chance. It was like the Heathers Burroughs weekend for me. And I stopped at Heathers for the afternoon matinee movie, because Mrs. Hall around town was at a baby shower there. And it was over at like 1:30. So I made the trek down there. And guess who's playing but Mr. Benny Bodine, which I actually knew. But that was part of the reason I wanted to go meet up. And we sat there and listened to Benny play. If you've never seen Benny's solo show, his band is amazing. Next to Nowhere is amazing. But Benny's solo show is off the hook good. And Benny was struggling with some vocal issues. He told me he's been kind of having a respiratory thing for like 2 weeks. So a couple of the songs he normally just blows everybody away with, he had to take down a couple steps. But let me tell you, if you didn't know that about Benny, you would have never known either. He's a true professional. Gets up there and plays. We had tons of pictures of him on our page. If you want to see those, if you've never met Benny, please get to know him and like his page at Benny Bodine on the Book of Face, because he is a true pro. And, you know, everything from Elton John to Lit, I mean, he's doing. And yes, Heather was in the kitchen. Heather had all kinds of parties going, and she was hustling, and her staff was hustling. And some of those girls, boy, they're working like doubles to get all this done. And it's great to see them pitch in and do the thing there on the patio. And Heather, one thing I will say about you is every time I've been down there where you've had an event, such as a baby shower, a wedding reception, which I've done several there, you go all out. The look of the place, the food, what you had, the spread you had for this baby shower was just amazing. So, Heather, you work very hard to do what you do, and everybody should appreciate that. I'm sure they do. So we caught Benny again. Check him out. I'm not going to dig deep into Benny Bodine, but he's a talent. He's an excellent talent. Plays the guitar, sings like unbelievably, and check him out. Then that night we made our first stop back there to see our friends from White Knuckle Weekend. And yes, you do have an amazing staff. I see it happen every Wednesday, and those people work for you. And one reason they work for you is because you're so nice to them and you treat them with such respect. I know sometimes you got to be the drill sergeant, but certainly you treat them with great respect and you appreciate them. And that's what makes that so magical there. It really does. So let's talk about White Knuckle Weekend. My friend Chad's on here, I think. Chad, if you're out there, and Billy and Stephanie Sutherland, Brian Lahith, however I say that, I always say it wrong. Brian, yes. And then, of course, Mike on the drums. A wonderful, wonderful band. And their page says 70s, 80s, 90s rock and 2000s rock. I will tell you, if you've ever turned on a radio in your life, you've heard the songs that they play. And I mean, you'll remember these songs. You sing along to these songs. And Billy's a great front man. He's up there moving and keeping the crowd engaged. And Stephanie, her vocals, and man, can she play a mean ass tambourine. I was joking with her about that, but she can play a great tambourine. Chad said he met Benny on the way out. He is. Chad, he's a great dude. You ought to go see him play sometime. You'd enjoy it very much. He's a wonderful player. So this band, one thing I love about them, and I've said this on the show about other bands, is how tight they are and how quickly they transition between songs. There's no BS between songs. There's not any noodling going on, a lot of tuning and all that. they are song to song to song. So you get a whole lot packed into the set and just amazing music. And I think, let me see if I can scroll through some things here. I may have the set list from the other night, but I want to talk about Brian's guitar playing for a minute. Unbelievable. Billy hits those notes in all the songs, and Brian's just slays the guitar licks. He does. And I really enjoy watching him. And I like the combination of Stephanie and Billy on the stage. It's so cool to see them and how they play off each other and some of the stuff that goes on up there on the stage with this group. And yeah, let's talk about it. I got to see, well, did I see? Yeah, I think I got to see mostly set number 2. So I'll talk about that. Heather says, keep the crowd so engaged. It does. It's great. Set number 2, Any Way You Want It, American band, 2 tickets to Huber Heights. Paradise. Long Train Running. What's Up? Blister in the Sun. Dancing with Myself. What I Like About You. Let's Go Crazy. Raise Your Glass, a Pink tune in there. Semi-Charmed Life. My Own Worst Enemy. The Anthem. What else did they have? Panama and Miss You by the Rolling Stones was in set number 2 for White Knuckle Weekend. That was cool. I did get to see part of set 1 as well, but that's what I got a picture of. And I want to thank Chad for representing the Hall Around Town shirt on stage. I can't thank you guys enough for that. And that was the beginning, or part 2 of our night on Saturday. Then I want to move on to what we were doing on Saturday night for the remainder of the evening. After that set, we bugged out of there about 9:30. And allow me to say, and no other bands on here that I've talked about take offense to this, but all I got to say about Half-Life at Mr. Burroughs, their debut, is effing wow. Amazing band. Made up of such talented players, but just absolutely amazing. And these guys brought it to Mr. Burroughs. They brought the crowd, they brought the energy, and the people there could not get enough of them. Ryan Schwab said he saw them and they were great. If you like 90s grunge music, which I did not, and I will be honest with you, I did not grow up with that music. I grew up with the 80s music, and then in the 90s, I was spinning dance music in a club. So I can tell you a lot of 90s rap artists, but when it comes to the grunge side of things and all that, I know my Pearl Jam and some of those, but these guys were doing some deeper cuts than that and absolutely smoking it on stage. It was loud as hell, which it should have been. It was great. The crowd was into it like none other. And I got to say, Mr. Shane DeMoss, if you ever had any nervousness about dropping the guitar and being on stage as a front man, don't, because you just killed it that night. I got to thank Dave McCarty for wearing the Hall Around Town shirt on stage as well. The one he's made sleeveless, so he shows off his gun show. But just such a cool band. Jay Grant playing guitar. Dave McCarty on guitar. Just smoking it. Niles back there on the drums. Who am I forgetting? Did I forget somebody? But just absolutely amazing. And this band had so much, and Jay gave me a set list, and honestly, he gave it to me on paper. What a nice guy. He gave me a set list on paper and names of the guys in the band and all that stuff. And Charlie, thank you, Charlie Wright. Thank you for that, Shane. I appreciate it. I forgot him. I did not bring the set list in here, into the studio today. My bad, but it's just like a little teaser. You might want to go see this band. And Heather says she's heard nothing but how fantastic that show was at Burroughs. Shane, you've got a date coming up at the Bell and the Bear for this band too. Drop it in the comments if you get an opportunity, what day that is. Because I want to tell you guys, if you're in Cincinnati, and I know we have a lot of viewers on the show from Cincinnati, go see Half-Life at the Bell and the Bear. They are going to blow you away. And it is just so cool. And Hi, Brian Scott. Thanks for being here. Rise to Rain in the house. And Chad says he can't wait to catch Half-Life. I agree. Catch him. I want to catch him again. And like I said, I did not really, I mean, there's a lot of the songs they played that I was not familiar with, many of the songs that I was familiar with, but every song they did was powerful, fast sometimes, fast-paced, absolutely killer band. And these guys acted like, again, they'd played for 50 years together. And I know they're all accomplished musicians, but to put this kind of project with that kind of energy together is an amazing feat. And they just killed it. And that's all I can say. And Jay, I apologize for not bringing that set list in. October 4th, there you go, the Bell and the Bear in Cincinnati. Put it in your calendars today. And Shane, I don't know if you've had a chance to see our pictures yet. I caught a picture which really personified the evening of you on stage. And Krista is out there silhouetted in the audience with her hand in the air, fist pumping to your music. And I love that picture. I think it's just the way it really ought to be. There's Dave, Gun Show Dave, as I like to call him. But he's even got in his profile picture here, he's wearing that All Around Town shirt. Thank you for that, Dave. We appreciate you representing. And what a guitar player he is. I mean, amazing. You put him and Jay Grant. Shane, you just absolutely said, I'm going to take all these great musicians, throw it in a blender, and look what it spit out. And it spit out quality. It was so cool to see it. And yeah, you were a nervous guy before. Well, you had a lot of people there that would love. And that's the other thing. I think that's harder to perform in front of your friends and family than it is sometimes to perform to just an audience of faces out there enjoying your music. So that was an interesting night. You brought the crowd, and Burroughs was slamming. It was crazy. We lucked into a couple seats when we got there because somebody got up as we were walking in and we sat down, which otherwise we were going to be standing room only with the rest of them. Hi, Billy. We were talking about you earlier. Were your ears burning? I hope so. And those guys are amazing. And one thing I know, like Dave and Jay, this is not necessarily their wheelhouse of music either. I've heard them play for years, and they're in the, they love the Van Halens, the 80s hair band groups and all those things. And Dave and Jay just seem to really enjoy this change of pace and playing some of those songs. And Shane, you pick some great songs too that have high energy, and that's what I like when you're doing the Foo Fighters and people like that. It just brings the crowd to their feet and does it. So, guys, that was our weekend, and that's all I've got today for this. I would love to talk more, but again, I run out of time, so I'm going to just leave it at that and ask you to follow Half-Life. I'm going to ask you, if you will, to please follow White Knuckle Weekend. Please follow Benny Bodine. Please follow Lakes Ridge, if you will, and the Hanky Panks. If you haven't yet, go follow their page. If you haven't followed our page yet, please do that as well. And don't forget Daved and Confused. That's DAV''D, Daved and Confused as well, if you want to follow them. That's all we got for today, guys. I will be back tomorrow with my lovely co-host, Karis. I've got the face for radio. She's got the face for video. And join us for that, for Joy and Judgment. I don't know what the topic will be, but if you have a topic, is there anything that pissed you off this week in local music? Send it to us. We'll talk about it because that's what we like to do on that show. So we'll be with you at 5 tomorrow. Thank you, Sean Cooper. Sean, you got to see Half-Life if you haven't, my friend. I don't know if you caught them at Austin Landing when they were there, but do it. You'll love it. You will love it. That's all we got, everybody. We're getting out of here. Have a nice night. Bob Klein, thank you. We appreciate you. And don't forget to post on our page, guys. There's a post on there about who you saw play over the weekend. Drop some names of bands in there and also the venues, if you will. And we'd love you for that. See you next time here at All Around Town Radio. I'm Scott signing off. Bye-bye, everybody.
Working for the weekend, then I want to see a show. I flip on the book of face. Yeah, I know where to go. man on there into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community with great advice. I know who I should go see. So all around town radio show is where I go for the latest band info. So all around town radio show for the music that comforts my soul. It's the all around town radio.